My partner behind me, Buddha, um, together, uh, just the shine on that picture and the light, and that is the light of God, and it blesses and shines down on me today, and it's the light and the love and the consciousness that I'm using right here and right now. As I stand in that truth of knowing that I am one with God, it is the same for each and every one of you at the sound of my voice out there in virtual land. It truly is a wonderful way that we have come together to celebrate our spiritual community. And I'll share a little during my presentation on just how it has helped me reconnect and rededicate myself to my spiritual practice. It truly is a blessing to get the grace out of the craziness that we have right now. And that grace just drops into my heart, and it's dropping into each and every one of you because there's only one of us. So as we talk about love today, taking care of your heart is first and foremost on my list. And I'm going to share those blessings and what has come up for me on taking care of my heart. And the biggest thing is that I am to share that with the spiritual community. And that is also your charge today. So I am blessing this time. I'm blessing the words. I'm blessing the laughter. And truly, it's a wonderful connection. And I am thankful. So I released this word into the activity of love and law, letting go, letting God, and sealing this time by saying, and so it is. Oh my God, it feels so weird. Nobody's around to say it. Now I understand what Kelly and Ryan were saying today. They usually get, applause as they come in. So Peter, could you put the first slide up? So with this Wednesday night service, I chatted with Reverend Jeff on how to do this. And when I talked about a rededication to my spiritual practice, it started with having the most wonderful ministerial team. And I'm just so blessed. And for those of you who don't know, I stepped away from my spiritual studies to go take care of my sister as she made her transition for cancer. And Reverend Jeff saw me walk in the door and he's like, I got shit for you to do. Come on up here. And it's just so wonderful to have that kind of love and support. And we continue to support each other. But with this virtual lockdown that we've been in, the ecclesiastical team has had a chance to meet every other week and kind of just support each other and share each other. And I have loved every minute of it. And even though we're not together, it has brought us to a clearer, or brought me to a clearer and loving place, and truly is helping me to finish my ministerial studies. So with the theme of the month, I would love to share what I'm doing as I shelter in grace. And you're going to love some of the things I show you, because I know a lot of you have some of the same stuff that I have laying around or in a drawer or in a box. And you always wonder what to do with it. But let's start some technical stuff about, for example, prayer beads. Prayer beads are not just a fashion statement, and I had to learn that the hard way. I spent a lot of money at every conference, and I think I've supported the gift shop in Santa Rosa for 3 or 4 years that I was going up there for ministerial school. But what I know and what has helped me, especially now, as I shelter in grace, I'm sharing that love and I'm supporting my heart. And as you support your heart, you calm yourself down, you release the strains and the stress of the day, of the minute, of the news. And my prayer beads have become more and more important to me. And they're a wonderful way to just go find a corner or walk down the street or here it is, shut the bathroom door. I know we laugh about that, especially the toilet paper thing. But again, if you're sharing a house or sharing your space with more than one person, that's your private time, and it's okay to go in there and sit in the corner in the dark and sort of meditate and relax. And using beads is a perfect way to sort of bring you back to calmness. And what I know, what my cardiologists and my spiritual nurses talk to me about is that I have to continue to take care of my heart and do all the things to strengthen it. And I truly believe that's part of my re-energizing or rededication to my spiritual practice. So I'm going to talk about just what I have experienced with our prayer beads. So your basic ones, there are mala beads. They come in a variety of shapes, sizes, and colors. Necklace, a wrist, and I just want to back up a little. If you remember, also when Madonna made the Kabbalah, I think it was, very popular with the red ribbons or bracelets that they wore. So, sometimes prayer beads can be a fashion item, but also they have now, I think, turned into the mainstream, and it truly is helping people learn how to relax and to take 5-10 minutes to center yourself. So as you can read, and what's going to happen as I have 3 or 4 slides, this information is going to be recorded. So you actually can go back and review or pass it on to someone to let them know exactly what to do with these wonderful things that we carry on our wrist and around our necks. But, prayer beads can be a few beads. It also can be, as you see here, 108. And that is a very special number that is part of the necklace. There's usually, and the one that I have around my neck, there's a God bead or a lead bead that you start with. So you sort of want to start somewhere, especially when you got a lot of them, and or a bigger necklace. You really gives you a starting point and an ending point. When I started with my spiritual studies, I didn't quite understand beads, and I'll back up a little. It reminded me of crosses, and I don't know why that came up for me now, but they scared me. So when I saw other items, I assumed it was some sort of pagan thing. And I think my dad used to call it that. And it scared me, especially when I saw prayer beads. It's like usually somebody's crying and they're on their knees and they have these beads in their hands. And I just thought it was such a strange thing. But as I grew and learned spiritually, it's that connection with spirit and centering yourself and knowing your truth and knowing your connection with God. So I grew to understand and appreciate all the different opportunities, beads and affirmations and coins and rocks, what they do for us or for me to again recognize the God that dwells inside of me. So, Peter, can you move the slide, please? So, using beads, meditations and mindfulness, and what I want to know, what I mean by mindfulness is I explained it to someone today, a coworker, and it's just being nice. Let's just say being nice and thoughtful and being mindful of your community, your planet, the people in your house, and number one, on yourself. And I'll speak for myself, there were times when I just did, and I didn't think about what was next or how my reaction would affect someone else. It was that me, I phase that a lot of us go through, especially when we're trying to discover ourselves. And as you change in your personal life, you end up feeling a little lost. And for me, I had some very critical changes in my life that made me off center. And that's how I explained it before I found religious science. And I needed to get back on that line or on track. So that mindfulness kind of keeps you focused. And I think in this time, as we shelter in grace, the thing that bothers me the most is when I see people are like acting crazy and protesting and not wearing masks because they don't care if it affects their neighbors. Don't fall into that. You take care of you, and I need to take care of Tony. So as I am mindful of what I do, I definitely can be the example for the people around me. So looking at, and especially the news and everybody out and about, go to your business, go about your business. And one of the mindful activities I do when I go in the grocery store, again, I have my wrist beads. And if I'm standing in line, especially now, at the checker, just kind of roll your fingers into your beads and just start counting one or counting them as you stand there and waiting to get checked out. So these beads or any item that you use just really focuses you, preparing you if you're going to do a big meditation, or it just brings you back to center. And I just talked about, I feel like I'm off center. This brings me back. So whenever I fall off the line or get pushed off of it, I know how to come back now. This is my spiritual tool. So also, as you hold the mala beads, and this is just one way that a spiritual teacher taught me, and as I said, you can hold it in your, one of the definitions I read said to put it in your left hand or your weak hand. And this, I couldn't do it. I'm right-handed, and I'm like, it didn't feel good. But I realized that I probably should practice more in this hand, because what made me uncomfortable is that it also focused me on counting the beads, especially in my weak hand. So until I master that, I also use my right hand. So it's almost like, that for some of you who do remember, they're like the two, I don't want to call them, they're like metal balls that you roll through your fingers, click clacks, we used to call them as a kid. But those type of items focuses you and keeps your attention, especially when people or meetings. For some of us in the corporate world, there's now lots of junk on the table. There's toys, and there's candy, and there's erasers and whatever. So it's that fidgety stuff that if your hands are busy, your head can focus on what's going on in front of you. And that's similar to what these things are. And any of these items that you use can, again, get you back to center. What I'm going to next talk about is the opportunity to use some of the, how do I say it, gifts that you were given during a class, sometimes as a gift, a housewarming gift or a love offering. If you're like me, I got a whole drawer full of rose quartz, stones, pebbles, flowers, you name it, keepsakes. Each and every one of those things are important to me. And you can actually use them differently. And I spread them around and I try to make altars and things in my house to remind me of good things. Or, I'll share this one with you first. I am, I hope you can see it. Hold on, let me take off my virtual thing. I work for the San Francisco AIDS Foundation. And where is it at? Oh, I was trying to find none. And I get a lot of ribbons over my years. I've been part of the AIDS Foundation for 15 years. And there is a ribbon for every opportunity to really share whatever is going through your body, or share what is your focus and what you like to charge out in your community. I started to collect those ribbons. So these are a shadow box. And I put all the ribbons into a box where I can see it, and I can see all the different opportunities I had to share in different communities. There's a red ribbon or red dress ribbon for cancer. The HIV ribbon, this one up here is an African-American version, and it's red, black, and green colors. So this little keepsake was an opportunity for me to share and place all those items that I had, instead of putting them in a jewelry box, and I sometimes never would see them again, but I get to see this every day because it's on a wall in my closet. So that's one that I'll share, and I'll move on to the other ones. Next, as we move down to a big spiritual practice that I also want to remind you of, is affirmation cards. And it could be, I won't say Reverend Robert, or one of my teachers at East Bay introduced me to the Louise Hayes cards. And then Iyanla Vanzant had some affirmation cards. And I didn't know really what they were until I started to really use them and understand that card, as I grew spiritually, was important to me. And each individual card that I got at a workshop or just somebody handing them out was exactly what I needed at the time. And I had a whole box of them that I wanted to make sure that I kept. And it again reminded me when I'm off center to look at the cards that were given to me and gave me a special meaning. So this is one I got up in Seattle. The ministers went to a weekend retreat, and it was the first time I'd been in a room full of amazing ministers since ministerial school. And we got to play, and we got to work on ourselves spiritually. And this is one of the cards that I drew, and it was life-changing for me. I wish all of you could go through a day of insight and spirituality where you're just among like-minded folks at a high level that just we were floating and walking in air. So this card has really helped me through a lot of my health issues when I start feeling low and down and not worthy. So cards like this are important to have, and it's on my mirror. So it's someplace that I can see it. It reminds me of who and whose I am and the great time that I had. So beads, rocks, stones, you make it what it is. We talk about, I think you've heard, whatever you put your mind on is what you focus on. So you can take any object and make it special. There's a story about a guy who he was going through some health issues, And one of the ways that he was able to work through it was he carried a stone in his pocket, and it was sort of mixed with his change. And if you're one of those guys who like to put your hands in your pocket and kind of feel your money, make sure your money doesn't disappear, but that rock also gave him a sense of security. And he called it his good luck rock. And this was going to help him through his health issue. Well, friends and family always questioned him why he had that rock in his hand or in his pocket. And he explained this was, you know, his focus and his good luck charm. Well, all of a sudden, people were like, you know what? Can you send me one of those rocks? I see it's working in your life. He's like, sure. So it kept going, and you know, all of a sudden, he was sending rocks around the country, and all he did was get them out of the pond or the creek in his backyard. They were skipping stones, and again, people thought they were magic, or that he got them in some, you know, spiritual treasure chest of stones. And again, it was a focus, and it was a love that he put on the stone, and it helped him get through his health challenge, and everyone else can see it. So a lot of the, you go to the gift shop and you see like all those little tiny things around the cash register, and that's where I'm going with this one. I put them in a little bag, and this is one of those little organza bags that you get at a wedding store or a craft store, and these are party favors or wedding favors that can be used for that. Well, there is some wonderful little stones in here, and a St. Christopher's medal that I got. There's some little angel babies, and there's a wonderful card that talks about my happiness and love. Well, this was something that I put on an altar in my dad's room as he was making his transition. And it was something that I thought can keep me focused and keep the love in the room as he made his transition. And so I kept it, of course, for all those years, and it brought back good memories. And when my sister was making her transition, I used this same pack of goodies, and I put it on the altar that I made for her in her bedroom or in her hospital room as she was making her transition. So it's very meaningful to me. And you know, you might not think there's something great in there, but again, it warms my heart when I see it. And it's something I wanted to share and just tell you how special this was and how I use it in my spiritual work, and when things are going crazy, like watching somebody that you love go transition, you know, it's something that can bring you back to a good and pleasant place. So, I think, Peter, can we go to the third slide now? Share. Peter. Yeah, there it is. Okay, how do I go here? Stress busting, you know, wear your beads, touch them. And this is something I learned, especially with rosaries. Again, I thought, you know, there was something evil about rosaries because everybody always seemed to be crying and wailing, you know, and literally, you know, seeing people do that. But again, it goes back to what I talked about, where the man just touched the stone that was in his pocket with the rest of his change. It was a item that released that stress in his life. Your beads around your neck. If you watch people who twirl them or put them in their mouths, it just gives you an opportunity to count, relax, and get that stress out your life. The ones on my wrist, I use those, you know, pull one off and I'll sit in the airplane or definitely in a meeting that is 3 to 4 hours long and you're trying to focus, there's an opportunity for you to practice. Um, Practice clearing the stress out of your life or out of the situation at the time, and focusing, and as I call it, bringing the vibration back. Sometimes, as you know, Sally has on, for example, she has on some wonderful beads around her neck, and I couldn't tell what they were, but they look like little candy, little items around there. So beads and necklaces can be any designed anyway, and it could be toys, it could be troll dolls. I've seen that. These are mala beads, and I think they're seeds. They just were beautiful, and something that I was attracted to. I got a set or a necklace from Hawaii, and it has those big old nuts that they put, that you eat. It's on everything, that's only found in Hawaii. So anyway, it could be any shape or size, but the focus is you, and busting that stress and getting that system out or getting whatever it is that's annoying you or heavy on your heart, get it out. And this is your spiritual tool. Lastly, and this you'll have an opportunity to go find something that you have and then share it with us. I can't tell you how many pieces of rose quartz I have, but I love it. And I love that it's love, and I love the energy of it. And I quite didn't understand energy and being an empath and flowing and until I got my first piece of rose quartz. One of the things that I just want to share that really, really helped my heart is pulling the pieces of rose quartz that I had around the house, and I put it around my bed, and I have a piece that's in my backpack, and it depends on your piece of rose quartz. They're a little hard to put in your pocket with your change, but I was told when you buy a piece of rose quartz, the piece calls to you. So there's one of those magical stores around Lake Merritt, and I went in there, looking for rose quartz or something else before I saw the rose quartz. Okay, of course, the most expensive piece in the shop called me, but it was magical how that piece, the energy and the flow of it, the touch, the warmth, it just was something I will never forget. Stones, gems, other keepsakes work that way. And some of you have gotten, right, as a gift, or you walked in a store and you're like, I gotta have that little troll doll or the little curio of something. It brings you good memories and good juju, as the voodoo ladies used to say. And the last thing I use the rose quartz for, or I'm going to start, I have a love spell. And this rose quartz is used in that love spell because this is a stone connected to love. And it's not a voodoo, it's not a negative spell. Again, it's opportunity for me to clear my heart, consciousness, and focus on what I want, if it's that relationship. So rose quartz and other stones, play with a few of them. So if you have an opportunity to be around gems and stones, really, I'll be curious to see, because some of you might have some diamonds or some pearls or just some wonderful stones that you can talk about. And I know somebody who gave me a stone after one of our classes, and I have that one on my dresser. It's something I look at every day, and it brings back good memories of my class at Oakland Center for Spiritual Living. Lastly, and Peter, next slide. I'm not driving. So here are a few mantras or quick things to say to kind of bring you back to center, especially during this time. And this is where the share the love. So this is your care tip as we shelter in grace. I actually did this for my coworkers. We added, besides a happy hour every Friday, we added a mindfulness Monday. And we had opportunity for other coworkers to come in first thing Monday morning for about 15, 20 minutes and talk about things they use to sort of help them through the week and through this crazy time that we're going through. So these are a few quick, easy things to say or to repeat and help you focus on getting yourself back to center, especially during this time. And this is one of my favorites. And the first one is, I am stronger than my circumstances. I am stronger than my circumstances. I am stronger than my circumstances. And this is one you can use with a rosary. You can use it with a stone. You can do it with the mala beads. And as you start to say it over and over and over again, one of the important things the spiritual teacher taught me too, it's the breath. And it's how you get slower, you get more passionate. All that wonderful stuff is helping your body to slow down that heart. Here's another one that I love. This too shall pass. And this is a big one. I used to hear this, my grandmother say that, and, old ladies in the church, oh, this too shall pass. It's somewhere, I don't even know where it is in the Bible, but this is an easy one. When something bad happens and you just know it's not going to last, this too shall pass. I mean, we are in a time of locusts, and we know it will have to pass. So again, I've lived a few plagues in my life now, or my lifetime. I know this too shall pass. The next one, I changed my thoughts. I changed my world. Pretty simple. I change my thoughts. I change my world. I change my thoughts. I change my world. This was similar what I heard when I walked in to East Bay Church, and I heard Reverend Andriette for the first time speak, and she was like, change your mind, change your life. And I thought it just resonated with me. At that time, I needed to hear exactly those words. So this is one that, again, you're feeding and you're releasing those negative things, or you're not feeding the negative, but you're releasing them, and you're feeding it, or you're feeding that space that's now open with thoughts and affirmations about changing your world. And here's the last one. Sally and we were laughing about this one, and this I tried to put the words down here, and Sally, I tried to cut the cartoon out and put it on here, and it didn't work. But we'll add it to the recording later. But for those of you who've taken classes, it's those little animated sketches that gives you I call it the mind, body, think and do prayers, and there's always like a little dance to go with it. But it's a releasing prayer. And this one is kind of great too. And you're releasing my belief in I'm not worthy. And this is important, that you're releasing that error, or it's not that you're broken or anything, it's an error in your consciousness. So I'm releasing the weight on my body, and that's something that's going to help my consciousness get rid of it. I release my need to make fun of my body. So those words of resistance, or those words that we make light of or make joke of, and sometimes it negates what we want to achieve. It's almost like when somebody gives you a compliment and you're like, no, I don't feel good today. Or here's my biggest one is when, you call in sick. You don't have to say, I'm sick. Just call off. Hi, I'm not coming in today. You resist the opportunity to make an excuse, or, you feel bad that you're not coming in. Well, you got days that you earned. Just say, I'm not coming in today. And the last one is, I am grateful God is, and this is where you want to put a positive word in there. And you can bring something like your rose quartz in there. And I am grateful that God is love, and I am love. I'm grateful that God is, and these are all those wonderful positive words, that God is abundant. I am abundant. So these little mantras are great to add to any of your stones or rocks or whatever you use in your daily practice. So for the last couple minutes, I'm going to ask a few of you, and at first I thought, oh, how's this going to work? Then I realized that you're all at home. So I know there's big pieces of stones, or there's affirmations laying around. So what do you have in your arsenal of collectibles that somebody would like to share, and how you use it? And that sharing is a way to help us all shelter in grace. So this is where, raise your, there's a little reaction, raise your hand, and somebody's going to unmute you. But for, the next a few minutes, we'll just take a couple. I don't know where, I think I went over a little time. But let me know what you're doing. Sally, what is that around your neck?
I was hoping you'd
I noticed it. I noticed it.
You've seen it before. I know you have. It's I call it my 70 times 7 prayer necklace. And I use it with that releasing prayer, because the releasing prayer, when we teach the class, we say, do this prayer 70 times for 7 days. And so the necklace I made it with 70 beads. So that as I said each of those things, I hold on to the one bead, and then hold on to the next bead, and then hold on to the next. So that's what I use.
I love it. It looks like those candy necklaces we used to have as a kid. You would eat them.
It does, yeah, but don't eat these. These are halulite stones. So
I love it. So thank you for sharing. Is there anybody else? I know there's somebody who has a big piece of a stone, because she gave me a piece for, I think it was Christmas or one of our classes. I have it inside. So just raise your hand, or unmute yourself, or pop in, or go to the other room and get something and bring it back. It could be an animal too. They could be your good luck mantra. And you don't have to say anything. I know this is a hard one to share. Next time I do something like this, we might have the little rooms that instead of with the big picture, we could have people break out and go there. Paul, is there anything that helps you?
Yes, I'll be happy to share it. It's a little personal, but in this venue, it'll show up well. I'm Catholic background, and rosaries are very important. And my mother bought her this, and I wore it to remind me. I think what you're talking about, Tony, is a reminder of the presence and to focus here and now. But if you can see, it's a little rosary.
Yeah. Oh, that's beautiful.
Thank you. And when I find, and I wear it all the time, I haven't taken it off since 2013. And then I have my touchstones down here, and they're also my get me into heaven. I got my my dad's cross that he wore. And I've had this around, he's been gone since 96, so it's been a long time. But I have different little memento, kind of like charm bracelets.
And the
there's
same concept, yep.
And there's a Star of David in here with a diamond in the middle somewhere. And when we get back to personalism, I'll share it. But I'll find myself grabbing that Star of David, and it reminds me, you know, being Catholic, and I'm a big Jesus fan, that Jesus was from the house of David. So we're very connected as a people, both Christian and Jewish, and or any other kind of separated concept of what separates us. Really, the Star of David reminds me of my oneness with all.
Isn't that nice? And it's something you can just touch, and it'll bring you back,
right?
Or remind you. Yeah.
And it's with me all the time. So it's kind of, I feel like you're trying to say, we all, during this time, it's nice to have a touchstone to remind us who we truly are.
Yep.
So I'll share that. That's personal. And when we see each other in person, I'll pull it out and show it to you.
Yeah. It's almost like, okay, I'll share this with you. One of my friends, we were talking about, you know, the whole thing where ladies clutching their pearls, you know, and you're like, oh my God. But I remember, you know, my sister was always, you know, her necklace or, you know, and she had my mother's pearls. But it reminded her of my mom. And I just thought, why is she twirling her necklace all the time? You know, so sometimes unconsciously, I guess, you know, you do this and you touch it and it brings you comfort and it brings you great memories. So I love.
I'll share.
Hey.
So I won't be able to show you it because I'm out walking my dog. But why am I looking at myself?
We see you.
Okay, but I'm looking at myself. That's weird. Anyway.
You're on the big screen.
Yeah. So some of you already know about Manny. Manny is my lamb, my stuffed lamb that I purchased to help get through COVID-19.
I love it.
I was at Walgreens and I was feeling very low and lonely and sad, and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna buy this stuffed animal because then it made me, and I was like able to I took it home and disinfected it first. But I've been cuddling with it, and I thought about it like when you're a kid, you know, and you have your stuffed animals, and I don't know, it just
right. It gave you comfort. Like when it rained or a thunderstorm, grab your animal.
Yeah, sorry about that. Yeah, exactly. And you know, I just so I was like, you know what? I'm a 43-year-old woman and I'm buying myself a stuffed animal, but hey, I'm good. And it helped. So
exactly. Hey, you know that yeah, diamonds would be great too, but a stuffed animal works also. Same kind of thing. Anyone else?
I will. I
Go
can't.
ahead.
I can't. I'm not. I think I'm blocked out. Sherry. Oh well. Okay,
right.
I was going to show you this.
Here, we hear you.
I know, but oh wait a minute. I guess I can do this, right? No, okay, there you go. There you go. So I have these beads right here. I don't know if you can.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, they're Greek beads.
And,
they're the same idea. They're called komboloi, and they're very special to me. I'll put them up here. They're very special. And there's the major bead there that you were talking about. And so I hold them around a lot like this. I just hold them and kind of just fondle them actually like that.
Right. So it's that thing I was talking about. You can stand in a grocery store, fondle, you know. Subconsciously touching it,
they're also very sentimental because that's the only thing that I took from my brother-in-law when he died from his effects, because he held them all the time. He was very Greek, first generation Greek, and he's very close to me. Is. And then I have lots of little things. But this other one is, this is my breathe button. You can't see the breathe on it.
I love it.
Very thin.
Does it say breathe?
Breathe, yeah.
Yeah.
So it says breathe. And that's what I carry in my purse or in my pocket, and I rub it all the time. But this,
Okay. That's a big one. That guy who puts, put the
Yeah.
stone in his pocket. Well, I have
Yeah.
one last one to share before I turn it over to Paul. And just what everyone's saying, when you have a whole bunch of stuff and you're like, well, how do I, get that off my table or out of my drawer? I got a bigger shadow box, and these were a lot of my items that my first year of prac class I collected, and I have a namaste card somebody gave me. This was a gift from Reverend Andriette. God is your only power in your life was the affirmation that we said at East Bay that came from Your Needs Met, this little book on recovery. Butterflies. This this down here, my first lover when I was 24, his new husband or his new boyfriend at the time, this Jewish guy that owned a Christmas tree ornament company, and they thought it was very funny to send me black Christmas ornaments every year. So this was the first one they sent me, and it's a little black angel. But I really appreciated that they thought of me and would send me the hottest new Christmas ornament that came off the assembly and sent it to me. So, this is a way to, again, put all your keepsakes together just to clear your clutter, because you're going to get more. And then again, this is right next to my ribbons in my closet, and it's something I look at every day. So, Paul, I think that's it. Did I do good? And so, lastly, again, the notes will be on the recording. So, if you want to get one of the mantras or look at some of the other items that I talked about, it'll be there for you to refer back to. So thank you. Namaste.
Thank you. Reverend Tony, will you take us out in a closing prayer?
Yes.
And then we'll open up the lines for, I'll say it the old-fashioned way. We'll open up all the lines and we'll get to say goodnight to each other.
Yeah.
Reverend Tony, will you take us out in prayer?
So as we virtually wind down today, and truly go, go in the bathroom, shut the door, take a bubble bath, go for your walk, go in your favorite corner, and truly give thanks for this loving time, this transformative time. And I'll talk more about that on Sunday. This is the time for us to lead and lead with love. So as my heart is just full from this connection, my heart is full from the love and the light and the people who take care of things, and my heart is full for the support that I get to make my heart stronger. So I give thanks and I bless everyone's evening. And as I release this word into activity of love and law, let it go, let God, and please say it all together with me. And so it is.
So it is.
So it
So
is.
it is.
It is.
I also want to recognize Reverend Robert out there, or was earlier today. So thank you, Reverend Robert, for joining us from the country. From the country. Tony's country.
No.
So if you all want to talk and say hello and greet each other until we get
My video is muted by the host, so I can't wave.
Wait, we'll get you unmuted.
We'll get you unmuted. They'll unmute you.
Hi, Paul. It's Liza.
Hi,
Liza,
darling.
There we go.
Hey, I've got so much to
Thank you
tell
all.
you.
Nice seeing all of you.
Sage, I see